King of New York, A number one, Sandra Doorley. Bald-headed, party-switching fraud, Todd Baxter. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime. This is the Freedom of Information Law. I'm demanding public information from you that you are legally obligated to provide to me. And you will refuse to provide this information to me. You will refuse to comply with the law. That's a disgrace. These documents that I have in my hand, these 16 Freedom of Information Law documents, you will refuse to comply with all 16, and that's confirmation of your corruption. You're corrupt to your bone marrow. Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Sandra Doorley. I have never committed a crime. Proof that I've never committed a crime is your prosecutor, Sandra Doorley, that you're refusing to disclose the names. Didn't talk in Penfield Town Court, first before John P. Lomenzo Jr., this 70-year-old nauseating hack, and next before Paula C. Metzler, this bald-headed, wig-wearing, nauseating hack who doesn't know what century she lives in. She didn't even know the charges. She sits up there in total ignorance. It's an assembly line of guilt. And I'm demanding a list of defendants, the charge, and the ruling, and everybody's guilty. And Paula Metzler and James P. Melley Jr. refusing to disclose that information, despite the fact that every single defendant in Penfield Town Court is there in a public proceeding. It's a public record, and they refuse to disclose the name of the defendant, the charge of the ruling, because everybody's guilty. And that's what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice. This is the Freedom of Information Law right here. I've demanded every one of these over and over and over, 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, 20 times, 50 times. There were documents here I've demanded 50 times. I know you see me because you come in here, and I changed my email addresses so you can't block me. I'm trying to reach you. So, can't say we didn't know he was trying to reach us. I'm doing everything possible to remove you two from office, and I'm confident that can be achieved because of what's happened to me. I'm 55 years old. In the 30-plus years since I was honorably discharged as a 22-year-old Sergeant E5 from 2nd Squadron, 17 Cavalry, 1 1st Airborne Engineer Assault 4 Campbell, Kentucky, I got 1 speeding ticket. I've always known the difference between legal and illegal, right and wrong, justice and injustice. You don't know the difference between legal and illegal, right and wrong, justice and injustice. And this is going to be the confirmation of it right here. You ignore every single one of these. You know how many times you've received these documents that I'm going to read? I'm going to show you. This is how many times. Over and over and over. Everything I'm going to read, you received. It's over 150 in here that I'm holding in my hand. That's not everything. That's just what I'm holding in my hand right here. That's in the last 2 months. You see how thick that is? You've been doing every one. The law is a joke to you. That's why. I'm waiting for you fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths to arrive at 9:45 p.m., scream my name outside, bang on the door. Your employees, you bald-headed fascist stooge Todd Baxter, are animals. And your employees, you bald-headed fascist stooge, are animals because you're an animal. So, Freedom of Information Law. The internal disciplinary records of documentation for employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, that Sheriff Todd K. Baxter is reprimanded, terminated, disciplined employment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Fire $67,000 a year. Shannon Meyer, fire $79,000 a year. Andrew Reale, and fire $85,000 a year. Don Benedetto. And I've told you multiple times now, 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, what they have done to me. I go to this now defunct PW Fitness at the back of the gym, up walks to me, Jermaine Bammy stands over me, punches down, my head snaps back. We go out to the vehicle, Andrew Reale marches Jermaine Bamman around to the side of the vehicle. He tells Jermaine Bamman the 7 words to say to me. Bamman says, I want to press charges against you, and that's how I'm charged with harassment. Second, who am I harassing, Todd Baxter? You'll have to answer this question. Who am I harassing? That's your employee's handwriting. You pay Andrew Reale $79,000 to concoct harassment second for me. If I'm hypothetically guilty of harassment second, there's a victim. Who's the victim, Todd Baxter? I walk outside my residence one day, stand here for 30 seconds, and tell a guy who's tracked from Broccolo Tree in Lawn Care that nobody owns the land. I walk back in my residence. How's that a crime? Ask $67,000 Shannon Meyer to explain how that's a crime. You're concocting crimes for me. On August 30th, I leave my residence. I walk alongside these trees. Don Benedetto, your $85,000 employee, walked onto the private property of my neighbor and hid in the bushes. No, I'm not making that up. And I had neighbors that saw him. He stood near the window of my 72-year-old neighbor. I walk outside. He comes running at me. I turn around and run away. I run off my back porch. He grabs my arm. The hammer I just grabbed to fix my bike goes up. I run back into my residence. And that's his concoction of a felony for me. Am I committing a felony on my back porch? He said I swung a hammer at him. Pay attention, you bald-headed fascist stooge, fanatic, degenerate, sociopath. Todd Baxter doesn't know if he's a Republican or Democrat. If I wanted to swing a hammer at someone, I would connect. And then Don Benedetto would have been laying on my back porch unconscious. Because I'm coordinated. I have never swung a hammer at anybody. I have never, in my long life, my half a century on earth, engaged in any type of violence. And every single person who's ever met me in my life, every friend, every girlfriend, every coworker, every acquaintance, is the confirmation I've never engaged in violence. He said I swung a hammer. It's a lie. You employ this guy that's concocting a felony for me as he's hiding on the bushes? I do not know if he has standing to concoct the crime for me when he's breaking the law himself. He's on the private property. Can the police, Perry Duckles, at the Baltimore County District Attorney's Office, just walk onto the private property of anybody in the United States of America and then wait for an innocent citizen to come outside? Criminal contempt second. Harassment second. You are such a pathetic liar, a Jonestown joke. Attempted assault. It's not attempted. Because I'm not attempting anything, you bald-headed criminal. And if I wanted to assault him, I would have brought the hammer that I just grabbed alongside my residence on down upon his head, and he would have been unconscious right there. And then you'd have to explain why I was hiding in the bushes. Now you can just lie about it. And the body camera footage I was showed by my public defender shows that they're walking around outside waiting for me. You're stalking me. You're Jonestown fanatics, degenerates, and sociopaths and criminals. You bald-headed criminal, Todd Baxter, are stalking me outside. They're waiting for me to come outside. And then they hit on the bushes, the two of them. There were at least 5 of them here. Stalking me outside and talking about me and using my name. Petty larceny. Someone you think is me takes a no trespassing sign and walks back in their residence. Trespassing, walking through these parking lot that people are walking through every day. So we got the concoction of attempted assault on my back porch where I'm not attempting anything and they're chasing after me. Petty larceny, somebody you think is me is taking a sign, and trespassing, walking through the parking lot that people walk through every day. You are such a Kool-Aid drinker, a joke, a nauseating, sick criminal, Todd Baxter. And you employ Kool-Aid drinkers and jokes and sick criminals. You know why? You think it's me taking that sign? You should put a camera on this building at 2025 Penfield Road and lie about it. That's your surveillance device, you bald-headed criminal. What do you not understand about that fact? That's your surveillance device. What do you not understand about what you bought? Because that's it right there. That's why you think it's me. Because you bought that camera and put it on 2025 Penfield Road. How do you discipline your public employees, you bald-headed criminal? The internal disciplinary records documentation of employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, that Sheriff Todd K. Baxter has reprimanded, terminated, disciplined employment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. In the Army, you veterans know that there's the disciplinary process that's governed by the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and the most frequently used aspect of it is the Article 15 in the courts martial. How's that done? How do you discipline your public employees when they behave like animals, when they behave like you, Todd Baxter? And there is no disciplinary process. Just like there's no disciplinary process for a certain corrupt district attorney. The internal disciplinary records of documentation for employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, that District Attorney Sandra Doorley is disciplined, reprimanded, terminated from employment at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Did you fire someone? Queen of New York, King of New York, A number 1, Sandra Doorley, one of your prosecutors that doesn't talk in court? What's the answer to that question? King of New York, A number 1, Sandra Doorley. Should you fire a prosecutor that doesn't talk in Penfield Town Court? First before John P. Lomenzo Jr., next before Paul C. Metzler, that doesn't talk? The answer is yes. The answer from you, King of New York, A number 1, Sandra Doorley, is no. And an emphatic no. You fire people? King of New York, A number one, Sandra Doorley? What do you have to do to get fired at the district attorney's office and sheriff's office? I mean, at what point is your fanaticism in the abridgment of the civil and constitutional rights of an innocent American at such a level that you decide this guy's got to go, she's got to go, he's got to go, they're fired? Do you fire people? How many people are fired? How many people are terminated? What are the facts and circumstances for the termination of employment at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office as these are public employees? And your answer is he needs to be arrested for asking us those questions. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter. I have the payroll. Payroll Lee LaRoque didn't take out of the residents. Send me the new payroll. I'm going to compare it to this. I'm going to put the raises on YouTube, which you're going to be thrilled about. You're thrilled about that public disclosure by me, Todd Baxter. So I can talk about you $100,000 cops. My favorite here, the Three Stooges, making $110,868. John R. Kennedy, James McGowan, and Dale Earn all are paid $110,868. Todd Baxter's Three Stooges. So. King of New York, A number one, Sandra Doorley. What do you think the next FOIL is? You understand that the acronym FOIL stands for Freedom of Information Law, and the key word in that acronym, King of New York, A number one, Sandra Doorley, is law, which you have absolute contempt for. Names and salaries of every public employee at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office of Sandra Doorley. Let's see here. On a payroll is $203,089. King of New York, A number one, Sandra Doorley. And below her, I believe, is the number two, Perry Duckles, $129,525. Perry, what's the name of your prosecutors that don't talk in court? How many times do I have to demand this? Tell me their names. And you're refusing. That's your indictment at the district attorney's office. Did you have absolute and total contempt for the law? This is a public proceeding, and you're refusing to tell me their names. Can you $108,338 Michael Harrigan? Wow, Michael, $108,338. That's a lot of money, Michael. How do you spend your $108,338 on Michael Harrigan? Can you, for $108,338, Michael Harrigan, can you tell King of New York, A number one, Sandra Doorley, that I'm demanding the names and salaries of every public employee at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, so I can compare it to that payroll, see the amount of money in raises, and put that on YouTube? Because that's public disclosure. And I know you're thrilled that me, Chris Chichester, innocent man, is engaged in public disclosure of taxpayer dollars. How do you pay public employees when they work that 40th hour? When I was a public employee in Albany for the majority leader and governor, when I was a public employee in Washington, D.C. for Congressman Mark Smith, the Senator Olympia Snow, there was no overtime. Salary is what you negotiated when you began that first day of employment. There was nothing. Not one penny. All you could do is take compensatory time. So if you work a 60-hour week, then you could take those 20 hours off. It would accumulate. Then you could go work on a campaign throughout the fall every 2 years. No money, no overtime, nothing. How's that done at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office with time and a half for overtime? Total cost of overtime, time and a half for hour paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office of Sheriff Todd K. Baxter. Do your employees, you bald-headed fascist stooge and criminal, purposely drive around in their vehicles in order to exceed a 40th hour, get up to 50 hours, 60 hours, and then you pay that person a different salary from the 40th hour to the 50th hour, 40th hour to the 60th hour? What's the answer to that question? Because I believe that you're psychopaths, since you're a psychopath, will drive around in their vehicles on purpose, or they'll just sit there in their vehicle alongside the Wegmans Food Market's headquarters doing nothing. What the hell are your employees doing at Wegmans, you Jonestown degenerate? Tell them to stay away from that private business. I saw them again there yesterday. It was such a joke. You don't even know what your own employees are doing. King of New York, A number one, Sandra Doorley. If first name on the list, if Ralph Loco with $63,360 works a 50th hour during the week, is Ralph Loco still paid $63,361? King of New York, A number one, Sandra Doorley. Ralph Loco is the first name. So if that's his salary for a 40-hour week, if Ralph Loco works a 60-hour week, is he still paid $63,360? What's the answer? Total cost of overtime, time and a half for hour paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office for Sandra Doorley. The cost of taxpayers If Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter expended taxpayer dollars on employment-related discrimination lawsuits, failure to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Payroll for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. On the list of salaries, Stacy L. Peck, $80,369. Stacy L. Peck at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of Sheriff Todd Baxter for $80,369. Are you Stacy L. Peck being sexually harassed at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of Todd Baxter? I hope you're not. Todd Baxter, as you understand the term sexual harassment, is there sexual harassment going on at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Have you used taxpayer dollars to settle sexual harassment lawsuits? Sexual harassment. It's a man asking a woman out on a date over and over and over. She's under siege with no. It's a man sending vile, vulgar, lewd, disgusting emails to a woman, and she's telling him constantly, no, 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 leave me alone. Stop sending me these emails. Asking someone out on a date, it's unnecessary contact. It's touching in the office. I've been around these guys. I was always astonished, and that's the word, when a guy would walk up to a female employee and then he has his hands on her. And any number of ways this can happen, even by just touching her arm like this. I would look at that guy and think that's really out of line. And if you think that's an overreaction, then I don't give a shit. Guy should never have his hands on a female employee at the workplace ever. There's never a reason to do that. And when it happens repeatedly, that rises to the level of sexual harassment. Is there sexual harassment going on? Stacy L. Peck, as you understand the definition, at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. On the payroll of Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Christine Fantuzzo. Christine Fantuzzo, $55,719. Are you being sexually harassed at Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley? I hope you're not. Sandra Doorley, if your employee, $55,719, Christine Fantuzzo, came to you and said she was being sexually harassed and described in detail that harassment, what would you do about it? Because the cost of taxpayers of Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley expended taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits failure to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act 1964. Is the answer yes or no? Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, based on those two Freedom of Information Law documents I read, is this YouTube's at 17 minutes? What's the answer? Is the answer yes or is the answer no? Sheriff Todd Baxter. What's a surveillance device? Do you know what it looks like? Do you know a surveillance device is a camera that captures images of people and objects? And that's a Central Intelligence Agency in Langley, Virginia. And the employees at the Central Intelligence Agency in Langley, Virginia will buy a surveillance device to surveil terrorists. And you bought a surveillance device and affixed it to 2025 Penfield Road to concoct the crime for me and walk through a parking lot after these psychopaths, Neeraj and Layla Kumar Shah, came to your office at Shannon Meyer. 50-plus-year-old man living with a 70-plus-year-old mother. They have no lives, these two. And I've been in that office because my dentist, Dr. Gloria Nichols, was in there. She's not running off to you about me walking through a parking lot. This is the lunatic fringe, and you are the sick lunatic fringe, you bald-headed party-switching degenerate. And this is why. The cost of surveillance device purchased with taxpayer dollars by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, fixed to a building in 2025 Penfield Road, to monitor Christopher Chichester, 26 Sanders Farm Drive, walks through the parking lot next to the building. I'm walking through the parking lot for the 4,000th time, you bald-headed criminal. And Elliot Roth, who works at that building at 2025 Penfield Road, is standing there with his Grim Reaper smile, and he says to me, "You're going to be arrested." Elliot, why did you say to me you're going to be arrested? Shannon Meyer tell you I was going to be arrested. Shannon Meyer doesn't have to say a damn thing, Elliot, because you know they came there and put that device in that building. Isn't that right? I have been in the darkest parts of Washington, D.C. And I'm not going to cite this for narcissism. My ex-girlfriend used to live all the way up on Penfield Avenue, and I would walk up there sometimes like 25 minutes from where I lived on the hill. And there were times at 1, 2, and 3 o'clock in the morning when I was walking home, and it was really scary. Because of just the environment and the climate that I was in. So, the reason why I'm telling you that is I would see cameras all over Pennsylvania Avenue. All the time. I'd walk by them because of the crime rates that would be there. I see the cameras on the buildings because of crime in Washington, D.C., and I'd even talk to her about this. And then when we would have lunch or do things on Pennsylvania Avenue, we'd have all these shops and businesses, you'd see the cameras because it's Washington, D.C., the most violent city in the nation. And here's your surveillance device here on this building at 2025 Penfield Road. That's it. That's your camera. What's that camera doing here? This is not Washington, D.C. at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning up in Northwest. What's that camera on that building for? Elliot Robb, I will tell the United States Department of Justice, Sheriff Todd Baxter bought this camera and put this on his building. If this camera was already on his building and he accessed the technology, then tell me. But I'm telling the United States Department of Justice, you, Elliot Ross, said to me, you're going to be arrested because Todd Baxter's fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths, and criminals came to 2025 Penfield Road and put this device called a surveillance device on his building to concoct the crime for me and walk through this parking lot when this psychopath named Raj Shah loses his mind screaming at me. Cost to taxpayers. Photography session approved by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter. Photo of 10 public employees underwater in a pool. When I say you will lose Todd Baxter in the primary and general election, this is among the 500 plus, 1,000 plus reasons why. These are your employees. Where was this picture taken? Did you expend taxpayer dollars to take this picture? I'm told it was a training exercise. If this is a training exercise, then you're doing this on the time the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, you pay taxpayer dollars. Where's the pool? This is where there's no accountability for you, you bald-headed criminal. This is a big pool, a swimming pool in the YMCA in Penfield. They could be in that pool. Where was this picture taken? Why was this picture taken? The reason why this picture's taken is you do whatever the hell you want at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. It's Animal House at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of Todd Baxter. What are they doing under here? What are they doing underwater here? The Delta House at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. You can't answer that. Because to answer it, it's going to make you look like a buffoon. You already are a buffoon, so you shouldn't be afraid to answer it. Speaking of being a buffoon, Ryan Fisher is in Atlanta, Georgia. Todd Baxter, what does the flag of Atlanta, Georgia, what does the flag of Georgia look like? Do you know what the flag of Georgia looked like until 2003, Todd Baxter? Because it had to be changed. And here's Ryan Fisher, who's supposed to be in Rochester or Monroe County, anywhere in Monroe County, Fairport, Webster, Penfield. He could be anywhere in Monroe County. He could be down there in the city in Rochester, and he's not. He's in Atlanta, Georgia. The cost of a hotel and plane ticket for Monroe County Sheriff employee Ryan Fisher attended the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia on February 3rd, 2019 with his canine dog, Lola. And here he is. There he is right there. And there's the Mercedes-Benz logo. Here he is. Here's the canine dog, Lola. Was Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia for one of these conferences where you disgusting, repulsive hacks in law enforcement, you cops get together and have a conference and whine about how tough it is to be a cop? What's he doing here? What's the reason Ryan Fisher is in Atlanta, Georgia? And you refuse to answer. You know why? Because there's no accountability. You do whatever you want at the Delta House. And the Delta House tweets about the Delta House. Did you write this tweet, $0 Michael Radler, paid no money to Monroe County Sheriff's Office? What do you do to be paid no money? Are you a gopher? Sheriff Todd Baxter wants a Snickers bar from the candy machine. You go run and get it for him. $0 Michael Radler quote, as we get ready to watch Super Bowl, we're grateful to the men and women assigned to keep fans and players safe in Atlanta, including MCSOs on Ryan Fisher and Canine Lola. Deputy Fisher sent this photo from Atlanta. Thank you both for your service to delusional, demented 1984. This is not service. He's standing here with his dog. How do you conclude that this is service? Service is public service. It's an altruistic act that you do. For example, if you have done work for the blind, then that's service. You're helping someone. You're serving someone that requires it. Service is employment in the state legislature and all of New York Assembly, New York Senate, the governor. Service is work in Washington, D.C. as a Senate staffer, a House staffer, a White House employee. Service is service in any state capital. From Albany, New York, all the way to Sacramento, California. Those employees for the governor and the legislative leaders in California, the members of the state legislature in California, that's service for every single one of them. That is service. This is not service, bald-headed, party-switching criminal Todd Baxter expending taxpayer dollars to send Ryan Fisher to Atlanta, Georgia with his dog Lola. This was the flag of Georgia until 2003. This redneck stars and bars. When I was in 101st Airborne Division, you veterans that have been in the 101st, I'm nothing special being a veteran. One thing that I find disturbing is how people think they deserve automatic praise for being a veteran. You don't know anything about that person's career. Just because you're a veteran doesn't make you some kind of special human being. This means people served in the military. I never thought of myself as some exalted or special person. And I can't stand that when I see people talking about being a veteran as if they have some kind of moral superiority. You do your time to serve, you're out. Well, when I was in 101st, 41A goes in front of the 101st, and it connects Hopkinsville, Kentucky to Clarksville, Tennessee. And when I would drive down 41A, with my roommate, Anthony O'Neill of Redlands, California, we would sometimes see this. And since he was from California, not the South, and I was from Long Island, we would talk about what is with that. I don't get that. I would say, I don't get that. I don't remember the exact language, but he would communicate to me, I don't get that either. And here's Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia in 2003. This redneck stars and bars was the flag. And it looks nothing like the beautiful flag of New York here, where the scales represent fairness. Justice is blind. It's justice blind for me, Perry Duckles. Excelsior means ever higher. Latin word here, excelsior, ever higher. You ever hire the Monroe County District Attorney's Office? The answer is no. You ever hire the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? The answer is no. Todd Baxter, you're overweight. Your employees are overweight. It's an absolute disgusting disgrace. Your employees have to be in shape to repel violent criminals that have the physical strength to overpower your employees. You have employee after employee after employee that's overweight. What are the physical training standards required to Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Todd Baxter is an innocent man deposited in Monroe County Jail when the prosecutor doesn't talk. I'm looking at employee after employee after employee, overweight, including the guy who attacked me. Day in year, Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter rehired Michael Radley after a 20-plus-year career with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office ended. You refused to answer the day and year. You rehired Michael Radley for $0. But when I contacted the Patroller of New York and demanded you be audited, this is going to be one of the first questions in a list of 100 questions, 500 questions, 1,000 questions. However many questions I can get out of me to ask you. One of them is going to be, when was he rehired and why is he making $0? Are you paid private money, Michael Radler, to go to work at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Are you paid money from Todd Baxter's campaign accounts to go to work at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Or are you just doing this out of the goodness of your heart because you're Mother Teresa at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Freedom of Information Law. This Freedom of Information Law, Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Sandra, like everyone I'm reading and everyone that I have read and will continue to read, is your re-election defeat. The name and charge of every inmate in Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter of Monroe County Jail from January 2018 to February 10, 2021. The name and charge is that simple. You will refuse. You're above the law. Give me a name. Sandra Doorley. For the 70-year-old pedophile protection rack for Dan Glaus III. Do you know that name? The Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, Dan Glaus III. Child rapist freed by John P. Lomenzo Jr. because he knows Dan Glaus II. He's out there again trying to rape children. And again, he's arrested. No legitimate arrest. I don't believe that everybody's innocent just because of what's happened to me. This is a real rapist. And this guy freed him because he knows the father. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester for John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court. What's the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Julie? Total silence, not one word, not one sound, not one syllable. Freedom of Information Law. Name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester. Pardon me. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester with Paul C. Metzer in Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Not one word, not one sound, not one syllable. Again, I'm delivered to jail as an innocent man when the prosecutor doesn't talk. What's his name? This 5'2", 3-piece suit boy leaves his podium, goes over, gives a piece of paper to Paula Messer, and that delivers me to jail. So, Freedom of Information Laws, 2 that I read to remind you to hammer at the brains of corruption. John P. Lomenzo Jr., Paula Messer. What's the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley, who doesn't talk before John P. Lomenzo Jr.? What's the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley, who doesn't talk before Paula C. Messer? You're going to refuse every time. Every time. You tell me the name. So, this is attached to. It's very simple. And you're going to refuse Paula Messer and James P. Jr. Name, charge, the sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Lomenzo Jr. James E. Miller Jr., Paul Messer, February 10, 2021. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Everybody's guilty. How is that explained to the United States Department of Justice? That everyone is guilty. So, what I just read to you, you received on January 9th. You refused. What I just read to you received on February 8th, and you refused. You're refusing over and over and over. Over and over and over. One. So, pregnant inmate back in custody after escape at Strong Memorial Hospital. You allowed 19-year-old Aaliyah Bird to escape. How did she escape? Here she is right here. With your employees as for them. How did she escape? Who's responsible for it? What's the disciplinary process? Sheriff Jail Superintendent disciplined after strong inmate escape. This is a 1984 review. Sheriff, you discipline yourself, Todd Baxter? Just say anything in the Georgia War 1984. The Monroe County Sheriff and Jail Superintendent are being disciplined after internal investigation regarding inmate escaping custody. What did you think when you read this? Who disciplines the Monroe County Sheriff? That's you, you bald-headed criminal. Did you call yourself into your own office, sit yourself down, and discipline yourself? Because it says right here, the Monroe County Sheriff and Jail Superintendent are being disciplined after internal investigation regarding an inmate escaping custody back in April. What did you do, Todd, baby? Did you spank yourself? Did you give yourself a spanking for allowing 19-year-old Aaliyah Burden to escape? Here she is in her flowing white gown. You are such a buffoon, a stooge, and incompetent. Do you have a dog, Sheriff Baxter and District Attorney Sandra Doorley? Do you have dog employees to Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Monroe County District Attorney's Office? You have a dog. You love your dog. Your dog loves you. Dog brings that unrelenting joy to your life. Think about all the wonderful things that your dog does. And it's my third dog, and he's a Shih Tzu of mine. Two previous dogs. One was a mix, a mutt, and another was a golden retriever. And the golden was 90 pounds, and the other dog, the mixed, a mutt, my black little guy, he was about 50 pounds. I couldn't pick him up and put him over my shoulder like I do with him. Can't pick up a golden retriever, my other guy, and put him over his shoulder. And when I walk into the residence, he would be in his dog bed. He'd run right at me. I'd pick him up and put him over my shoulder. I said, I missed you too. Talk to your dog, of course. If you own dogs, then you talk to your dogs. Your dog's a family member. Talk to your dog just the way you do with your family member, and you have 10,000 boring dog stories like I do. But you don't have a story like this one. The Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office. I guarantee it. When I would leave the residence, I'd walk along here. Land has no ownership one day, and back here, 4,000 times I've been back there. You bald-headed criminal, Todd Baxter, and your fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths are going to show up for me just walking my dog. And Alexander Graham Bell invented telephone where you could call me. I hear screaming from the shack, the Shaw Law Firm. I don't understand that. You can see the distance. Screaming. I don't know what it is. I bring my little guy in. I walk over there to talk to him. I walk through the parking lot when I was allowed to walk through the parking lot. It's the lunatic fringe. I'm the only New York out of 17.9 million to be arrested for walking through that parking lot. Yeah, you heard that right. I go over there to talk to Nairaj and Leonard Kumar Shah, 50-year-old man living with his mother. They refused to talk to me. They called the sheriff's office. They are at my residence. One phone call. When those two psychopaths in their yard demanding my dog's a vicious confrontation witnessed by my neighbor at my front door. How do you show up to my residence and demand my little guy based on one phone call? It's because you want to exercise power, and this is why people hate the police. I've never had hatred for the police in my life. Everywhere I've worked, especially in Albany, in the Capitol, Russell Senate Office Building, Rayburn House Office Building, never. And I'll hate the police until I'm 6 feet under, and this is one of 1,000 plus, 2,000 plus reasons why. There you are demanding my dog. And I'm screaming at your employees. And I said, you'll have to kill me to take my little guy. And then after your employees left, my neighbor came over. Because we would talk about our dogs. He would tell me his boring dog stories. I would tell him my boring dog stories. This is not boring. This is fanaticism and hatred and corruption. And he said to me, it's not the first time he's used this language that he communicated to me. I don't remember the exact language, but what he communicated to me is, I've never seen the police behave like that. Over and over and over. Because your Monroe County Sheriff's Office is fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths, psychopaths. So when I'm using language, fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths, psychopaths, that's what a fanatic, degenerate, sociopath, and psychopath does. One phone call to AR demanding my dog. So 5 Shannon Meyer. You've received this over and over and over from me. Registered mail return receipt. CR number 1807515, where I took every sentence that this hack wrote in this addendum here, and I responded to it. Upon my arrival, I spoke with V. Shaw. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Ridiculous. How is he a victim? The 1984 of you bald-headed criminal. Shaw signed an information. What the hell is an information? I don't even know what that is. And then she's got me as an A. Why am I an A? What is that? V for him being a phony victim. I don't understand. I'm an A. Am I an assailant? Is that what the A's for? I spoke with Chichester, stated that I never see the map or title. That's right. She did get that right. But she put title in quotes. So, did you, Shannon Meyer, graduate from high school? Do you have to have any type of educational requirements to work at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office the way this hack wrote this, Todd Baxter? Is a GED the qualification to work at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Is what I want to know. Because right here, this document delivers me to Monroe County Jail as an innocent man. 1440 hours to knowingly remain unlawfully in upon the premises 2041 Penfield Road by walking through the park line after being told by certified mail and by police that he's not allowed on the property. Walking through the park line, is that right? I'm the only American to be arrested for walking through that parking lot. How many accusatory instruments are there like that one in the United States of America walking through the parking lot? At the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, you, Ralph Missoura, at $86,322. You, Ralph Missoura, for $86,322, you, Ralph, can walk through this parking lot without being arrested. Why is that? Can you answer that question, Ralph? Ask Shannon Meyer why you, Ralph, can walk through that parking lot without being arrested. Because I really want to know what the answer is to that question. And at the district attorney's office, you, $77,931, Michael Carente, you, Michael Carente, can walk through this parking lot without being arrested. Why? Do you have different civil and constitutional rights than I do? Michael Carente, you, $37,720, Denise Capone, can walk through that parking lot without being arrested. Why, Denise? Why, Denise, can you walk through this parking lot without being arrested? What's the answer to that question? That's what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice. Everything I'm saying to you. This is a lunatic fringe. You with a sick, bald-headed lunatic fringe, Todd Baxter. Do you know why people hate the police? When your bald head is staring at the television and then people are in a rage about the police, can the brain inside your bald head find out why? I'll tell you why. Because it's not a crime to walk outside, stand here and say nobody owns that land and walk back on my residence. I'm not harassing anyone sitting in the backseat of your vehicle. People are in a rage about the police because the cops come into the home of an innocent man demanding his dog. I'm just applying that to me. But this equivalent behavior of the lunatic fringe of the cops, where someone would say to me, wow, that's quite a story about the cops coming to your house to seize your dog, and here's my story. And then he would tell me a story that would be just like mine. There's something really wrong with the police in the United States of America that I've never seen. Because I see these movements across the United States, from New York to California, to defund the police, and people are in a rage about the police. And I never understood the hatred for the police in my long life, because I never had a problem with the police until now. I mean, you've unleashed these disgusting human beings, Neeraj and Layla Kumar Shah, upon me for walking through a parking lot. You cannot tell that they're mentally ill. Your employee, Shannon Meyer, can't tell they're mentally ill. Andrew Reale unleashed Jermaine Bedman on me. The guy snaps my head back at the gym. He charges me to harass for a second. How come Andrew Reale and Shannon Meyer haven't been fired? Don Benedetto's on the private property of my neighbor. I'll guess that he's seen me on YouTube. And you're thinking we need to set this guy up. And that's exactly what you did. A felony on my back porch. They're walking around outside stalking me, Todd Baxter, you bald-headed criminal. How do you have these repulsive, pathetic train wrecks working for you? And the answer is you're a repulsive, pathetic train wreck too, Todd Baxter. That's what the answer is. So, and I'm demanding that they prove that own that land. Neeraj Shah refused. I just put this in the mail. This guy's refusing to open his mail. Neeraj Shah again. Neeraj Shah, prove you own that land. Neeraj Shah, prove you own that land. Layla Kumar Shah's mommy, prove you own that land. Steve Desmond, this is the guy that you used. When I say you used a civilian to come to my house, Steve Desmond works for Brock Hollow Tree Lawn Care. He refused to open his mail. Shannon Meyer got together with this guy, Steve Desmond. I'm demanding to know the facts and circumstances from this guy about how they contacted him. That's what I'm demanding to know. That's why he refuses to open this. He gets this from me, certified mail. He sees my name, Christopher Chichester, right there. And he thinks, I don't want any part of this guy with the sheriff's office. Elliot Roth. Elliot, who told you I was going to be arrested? This guy's afraid to open his mouth. I'm not just putting this in the mail. Michael Rather returns to sender, the $0 employee. What do you think's in there, Michael Rather? I'm demanding to know what you do for $0 at the sheriff's office. Elliot Roth again. John Pilomenzo Jr., the guy delivers him to Monroe County Jail. Not one word from the prosecutor. I'm demanding information from him. Afraid to open his mouth. The 70-year-old hack. This child rapist protection racket for Dan Glaus III. Back to Todd Baxter. Afraid to open his mouth. John Pilomenzo again losing his mind. Look at that. John Pilomenzo Jr. Again, John Pilomenzo, certified mail, John Pilomenzo Jr. Layla Kumar Shah, prove you own that land. Nothing from them. So, how am I defending on a piece of paper? I'll ask that again. Sandra Doorley, how am I defending on a piece of paper? Todd Baxter, how am I defending on a piece of paper? This is the accusatory instrument. This piece of paper delivers me from Monroe County Jail, where I'm defending on a piece of paper. Why does this exist? Eliminate this document. Perry Duckles, how am I defending on a piece of paper? So, I'm going to read this again. Paula Metzler, take off your wig, polish your bald head, make it nice and shiny. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John Pilomenzo Jr., James C. Wally Jr., and Paula Metzler. I read that. To pound it into that brains of corruption, I will tell the United States Department of Justice in 1,000 words, 5,000 words, however many words I decide to write, that everybody's guilty in Penfield Town Court. It's an assembly line of guilt in that nauseating star chamber of Penfield Town Court. The District Attorney of Hatred, Sandra Doorley. The Sheriff of Hatred, Todd Baxter. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime.